All right, we're live.
Howdy, I'm Bill Hill, class of 1984, and your San Antonio A&M Club president. Welcome to Monday Lunch, May 18th, 2020. This is our third remote video live stream Monday lunch, and you're in for a treat today. Today we've got Bronson Burgoon, class of 09. He is a current PGA Tour member and a member of the 2009 Fighting Aggie National Championship golf team. So we're looking forward to that. If you are just joining us, we've done these virtual Monday lunches for 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks ago, we had Heath Clary, class of 19. He was the author of All It Takes Is Everything You've Got. And then last week, we were privileged to have Brigadier General Joe Ramirez, the Commandant of the Corps of Cadets, where he outlined kind of everything that went on after spring break with the COVID-19 and the university, how it impacted the Corps and how they're planning next fall. So Logan, you're doing an amazing job with these hosting these videos. You did such a great job with General Ramirez. I thought I was going to ask you what outfit you were in the Corps of Cadets, because you did your homework and you did a fantastic job. If I met you on the street, I think I would naturally just assume you had been in the Corps. You embody the Aggie spirit and everything that we do here at A&M and the San Antonio A&M Club. So well done so far. But I got to ask you a question. You know, you interviewed General Ramirez, and he's an easy guy to do that. But did you have a takeaway or two from that session?
Thanks for the kind words, Bill. I did. It was interesting to see that how General Ramirez is moving forward during this time, and they plan on moving forward the same way, taking this as the same as any other school year, and then just having to take it day by day, and if things change by the time school starts, they'll adjust as needed. But it was really neat to get to talk to him and get into some of his life outside of the Corps. He's an interesting man. He's got a lot going. So it was awesome. It was good to interview.
Well, we're blessed to have General Ramirez as our commandant. Hey, if you've missed the last two programs, I highly recommend you go back and take a look at them. And you can do that by going to the Aggie Park website. And we have at the top, we've got tabs across and on a gray bar. And then one of the tabs is titled Events. And you click on the Events tab and you go down to Past Events. And there you'll see the last two Monday lunch programs. And they're not too long. They're about 20 to 30 minutes long, but I think you'll find them very enjoyable. Hey, I wanted to give you a shout out about this year's 2020 Aggie Muster at Aggie Park. While we weren't able to gather and participate in person, Logan, our vice president of the club, as well as our muster chairman, put together a great program with a few dedicated volunteers. You know, when we have Aggie Muster at Aggie Park, we usually generate about 500, 600 folks in attendance. As of Friday, the number of viewers that have viewed our Aggie Muster were 1,173. So that's about double the amount that we normally get at Aggie Park. So, you know, Aggie Park's been closed, and including Monday lunches, all of our events have either been canceled or postponed. Like I mentioned before, we resumed our Monday lunches 2 weeks ago, and we look forward to being able to do that in the near future where we get together. But we've got to be careful about how we do that. Here's a couple other things I'd like to give you a brief update on. The golf tournament. The golf tournament, which was scheduled in late March, was not canceled, but was postponed to either the first or second week in September. And we're looking forward to doing that. The Aggie Family Barbecue was scheduled on the May 16th, and it's been rescheduled. And the date we tentatively got selected is July 25th. More information will come about that. We're looking to send an Alamo Aggie out in the near future, and some of the details should be included there. Coaches Night was scheduled for Monday, June 8th. We're in coordination with the Association of Former Students right now, and we're not sure what Coaches Night is going to look like. We're pretty sure we're going to have a Coaches Night, it might be video live stream or something other. Anyway, as we get more details on that, we'll let you know. The bottom line is the students aren't coming back to campus for a while. And so instead of having about 4 months to prepare with the students, the coach is only going to have about 2 months. And so every day and all his time will be crammed up. Scholarships. You guys know that, most of you know that we provide scholarships as part of one of our major missions here in the San Antonio A&M Club. This year, we're in the process of selecting and awarding 8 $12,000 scholarships. Now, some of you may not know how competitive it is, but we had 140 applicants this year apply for the San Antonio A&M Club scholarship. Out of the 140, we selected 25 to be interviewed in June, and that's scheduled and will happen in the next couple of weeks. To give you an idea how competitive it is, out of the 140 applicants, 31 of the applicants finished in the top 10 of their class. And I didn't say top 10%, I said top 10. 51 of the applicants finished in the top 20 of their class. Wow. 18 applicants scored a 1440 or higher on the SAT. And I think that puts those students in the top 3 or 4% of all students taking the SAT. 29 applicants scored above a 1400 on the SAT. Heck, I don't think I ever knew anybody that scored that high when I went to Texas A&M. I think on the third try, I scored a 1060. That'll tell you what that means. We have some very competitive students. Finally, I wanted to give you an Aggie Park capital campaign update. The capital campaign is the fundraising that we're doing so that we could renovate and expand Aggie Park. Had been planned this year, but fundraising and COVID-19 kind of put a stop to that. We're not actively seeking donations, but we're still accepting them. In fact, last week alone, we received $3,034. $3,034. That's amazing. Since March 9th, the last time we met, we received $73,194. Our goal is 1.6 million. We're fortunate that the Mays Foundation has provided a matching gift of $450,000, of which they've already matched $117,000. Okay. A few months ago, I called out in the Alamo Aggie to all Aggies to donate $1,000. Actually, I called out asking for $500, and believe it or not, we got a large number of Aggies that have donated. Here's one I got in on Friday. You can see here it says, "Bill, count me in." So anyway, not to belabor that, but if you're able to donate, you can go to our website and find more information about that. Now, our club vice president, Logan Richter, class of 2005, will preview the upcoming week's Monday lunches and introduce ourselves to today's speaker. Logan.
Bill, thanks for the intro. We've had a couple of great speakers last 2 weeks. Heath Clary, as Bill mentioned, and General Ramirez. Before we get to our guest this week, next week we've got Dr. Ben Newman. He was on the international committee that named the coronavirus. He's been studying it for 17 years, and he's in the Texas A&M system. So he should be able to answer all our questions that we have about what's going on and when we can move on, get back to normal. But this week, very excited. We've got Bronson Burgoon, class of 2009, was part of the national championship golf team for Texas A&M. In fact, he hit the final shot that sealed the deal for the team. He's currently playing on the PGA Tour. So I'd like to welcome Bronson Burgoon. How's it going, Bronson?
Hey, Logan. Hey, Bill. Doing well.
How's the family? I know you've got a pregnant wife and you've got a little one running around already. So
yeah, it's a little hectic in the Burgoon household right now. We're expecting in September, and we got a 17-month-old who likes to try to kill himself every 5 minutes. So it's it is tough sledding right now, but it's a lot of fun.
Is he swinging a golf club yet?
One-handed. I haven't got him to figure out the two hands yet. He can hit it pretty good with one hand, but we're still working on the interlocking grip.
There you go. Get him started early. There you go.
That's right.
Well, when do you get back to work? When's the PGA Tour kicking off?
So Colonial will start June 8th. Well, the actual tournament begins on the 11th. So it's going to be a little different. Obviously, no fans, no families, first time in tour history for that. And just a lot of weird regulations. And it's just going to look a lot different.
Are the caddies going to be able to touch the flagstick?
They're going to have to wipe it down apparently after they touch it.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Man. That's going to be wild.
The PGA Tour is not taking any chance, which I don't blame them. They're the rules they're implementing, they're pretty strict, but I think I'll be tested 4 times during a week, as everybody on property will. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting, but I'm glad to be back on competing a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be like just a normal day at the country club playing without anybody
exactly
watching.
What it's going to be like. Yeah, just with the best players in the world.
Fun. Yeah, those are pretty good foursomes to be going around.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see. We've got our first question from one of the members, Mark Edwards, class of 1980. He said, "What is the hardest thing to adapt to on the PGA Tour?"
Well, there's a lot. Honestly, even just going from what is now the Corn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour, there's a lot of things that are different. I would say the 2 biggest things, one, the crowds and all the tents and all the people and just all the circus. I mean, we're a traveling circus and there's a lot of stuff going on. And then, the travel and just finding where to stay, where not to stay. My rookie year, I must have switched out of probably 18 hotels out of 25, because you get there and you just don't know. So, those 2 things were pretty big adjustments.
Let's see. We've got another question from Gary Thompson, class of 71, and he was wanting to know how much practice you have to put in every week to maintain your game.
Yeah, so good question, Gary. Yeah, it's for me, I'm pretty scheduled. I'm a pretty routine guy. So like on a typical weekday, if I'm home, I'm usually up. I get up really early, 5 a.m., have my coffee. I'm starting to usually try to work out by 6, get done about 7:15, 7:30, and then have breakfast with the family and then out the door by 8:30 or so. And I try to be back by about anywhere from 1 to 2 o'clock. So I'm there whenever my son wakes up. But, so I put in 5 to 6 hours just about every day. And how those hours are spent kind of varies on what day it is. But I'm pretty regimented. Some guys aren't. I need it.
Well, that's good. You've got a game plan. Robert Adair wanted to know how often you have to have your equipment checked. And
yeah, so that's something that was actually a learning curve for me, to be honest with you, because you're traveling so much, and I went like 2 months, and my sponsor's Titleist, and they actually like, Bronson, you never bring your clubs into the van. Most guys bring them every couple of weeks, get them checked out, and so they actually took my clubs, and they were so far off how they should have been. So just the wear and tear of the travel, people throwing your luggage around. And so I try to do it once a month at least now, trying to just make sure that everything's spec'd out the way it should be. And so I'm ready to roll.
You talk about being regimented and known just from knowing you back when you were in high school, how goal-oriented you are and how dedicated you are to your goals. And it's something that I've always admired. But I've got a question. What are your goals for this year on the PGA Tour?
So my goal starting this year was two really. Is one, get my first win, and then finish inside top 30 on the FedEx Cup. So that means getting to the Tour Championship. And the top 30, what that does is it full exemption to all the World Golf Championships, which is a huge deal because it's 6 events, no cuts, and it's only like 75 guys, top 75 players in the world essentially. And the world ranking points are through the roof. And then you get all 4 majors. So that was the goal, 2 goals that I have. So I'm still, I'm like 96, 97 on the FedEx Cup now. So, I got to leapfrog some folks, but, it's still doable.
Well, you might be 97 in FedEx, but you're 7th on the PGA Tour in birdies per round. So we're looking forward to that first win coming soon.
Yes, sir.
I've got Mark Edwards had another question. He said he watched you at the state golf tournament back in 2005 when you shot your 62. I believe you won the tournament that year. He said you were already sporting Aggie head covers and Aggie gear. Do you come from an Aggie family? How was that?
Yeah, no, I it was a 61, not to correct anybody here, but I don't want to shortchange myself.
I don't blame you.
No, so my brother was 2 years older than me, and was also on the high school golf team. When he started getting recruited and decided to join Texas A&M golf team, I kind of within a week I decided I was going to be joining too. So I actually, I was getting recruited by quite a few schools, and I ended up not even taking one other visit because I didn't want to waste anyone's time. And I just said, hey, I'm going to be an Aggie, and I'm looking forward to help making the program a little better and enjoying the school like my brother was at the time.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you didn't waste anyone's time taking visits, but how would you rank A&M's facilities compared to other facilities you've seen?
Yeah, they're really good. It's there are schools that have built new facilities that are real nice, but I would put A&M's up against anybody, to be honest with you. We're so spoiled, and actually the guys there now are even more spoiled than I was, which is hard to believe. What they've done in the last few years is just insane. When I was in school, I used to go, when it was November, October, and sun was going down early, I'd pull up my car and put in the headlights. Now they have the whole thing lit up. So it's pretty special. What JT has done there is, he should be very proud of that.
Y'all got a lot of greens right there around the clubhouse. Are they different greens for different tournaments? Or?
Yeah, so they have bent grass. I don't know if they have any. I know they have bent grass, so when we go out to the West Coast and up north, we can practice on the bent grass. And they have a cooling system underneath, air conditioning, keep it alive in Texas, which is not cheap. And then they have a chipping facility that is just out of this world. It's not even a chipping facility. It's like a mini golf course. You can hit 3 irons from one side to the other. So it's, like I said, what they have, you're not going to find anything better. That's for sure. You maybe as good, maybe, but nothing better.
It looks pretty awesome from the road. That's for sure. Let's see. Reagan Freiling's got a question. What's your favorite non-golf memory when you're at A&M?
Oh, well, that's there's a long list. We've had it was nice. The team, we were all pretty good friends, and we had a lot of good fun and just rooming with the guys. I lived with my brother for 3 years. We had a lot of good times. But I would say something that I miss the most is just getting on campus whenever school wasn't in session. And, either morning jogs or, evening walks after dinner or something like that. It's special. Everyone that's watching this knows, and y'all get it. And it's just, my wife and I need to get back there and show my son, what Aggie Land's all about.
Yeah, it's magical. That's me and my wife's one of our favorite things to do is just walk through campus with our kids and just remember how it felt to be young. But Let's see. I've got another good question from Robert Adair. Does college golf? How does college golf prepare you for the PGA Tour, or does it?
No, it does for sure. Time management, obviously, being a student athlete, I think any sport would attest to this. You have to develop some time management skills, and the competition now in college is extremely strong, as you can tell from the guys that are coming out and winning pretty early in their career. And, you know, obviously the strength of field is extremely deep on the PGA Tour. More so than college, but it definitely prepares you. There's no question.
When you talk about strength of field in college, when you hit that shot to win the national title, I believe you're playing against Andrew Landry from Arkansas. He's got a couple of wins out there on tour. But can you kind of talk about that final round, the final probably about 5 or 6 holes? It got pretty interesting.
Yeah, it did. The whole week was pretty cool. You know, we weren't the best team there. Oklahoma State and Georgia were just loaded. And it was the first year that they went from stroke play to match play. So we had a 3-round qualifying. They took the top 8 teams. And, you know, we just, Arizona State we had in the first round, and we thumped them. And they're historically one of the better schools, golf schools in the country. And I think we played Michigan next, and we handled them pretty well. And then Arkansas. And it just happened, I was in the one spot with Andrew, and it was 2-2. And by that time, every match was done, and I was 4 up with 5 to play, and everyone essentially was waiting to celebrate on like 14 or 15, which I was too. And, you know, we ended up going to 17, and it was insane. Just, you know, coach's wife looked like she was about to start throwing up by a tree by the tee box. His face was white. You know, everyone just kind of went pale, and it got even worse when I hit my tee shot in the rough to the right. And our assistant coach at the time, he's now the head coach U of H, Jonathan Dismuke, you know, he was keeping it light, and we just decided to go for it. And one of those things, you know, God definitely took over. And when I woke up, the ball was within tapping distance, because good thing, because I couldn't hit a 1-foot putt at that point. So I'm glad I didn't have to putt anything.
I think I read somewhere that you had mentioned you wanted to be standing on the last tee with a chance to win the national championship for A&M, and you got it, and you performed, and we're all very happy that you did.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I told Coach it was payback from all those early morning workouts and punishment runs he had me doing. So just had to age him a few years.
Did you ever have to run the steps at Kyle Field with your golf bag on?
Never with my golf bag, but I touched every single one of them steps in Kyle Field. That's for darn sure. Many different times.
You know, that's not the first time Andrew Landry's been on the wrong side of a birdie that you made. Let's talk about 2018 Quicken Loans National final round. You're playing with Tiger Woods. I mean, that's everybody's dream, and not only playing in the final round, but in contention. Man, that had to just be unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, just kind of set up the day. It was funny. The day before, I was watching the telecast, and I knew Tiger and I were pretty close, and it was Bo Hostler from UT, and all he had to do was make if he made a birdie on the 18th hole, I was going to play with Tiger, and if he made par, I wasn't going to play with Tiger. So I was sitting there watching, and he had a perfect drive. And he only had like 130 yards in. And right when he hit it, he dropped the club. And I was like, oh, my goodness, I'm not going to get to play with him. And he had like probably 40 feet, and he just decked it. And so I just kind of started going crazy in my hotel room. I called Brandon. I'm like, you need to get a flight. So Brandon starts getting a flight to fly out in the morning. And, playing with Tiger was definitely one of the most memorable, if not the most memorable, rounds of golf I've ever had. Just because, like you said, it's a childhood dream. Grew up watching them like everyone else that's out on the PGA Tour now. And, it's just, walking to the first tee was probably the craziest thing. My wife was there, and, there's probably 10,000 people because there was a big hill to the right of the tee box. And I was sitting there, and you kind of heard the rumbles, chants of Tiger. And as he gets closer, it was like deafening. I couldn't even talk to my caddy at the time. And he walks up through all the people, and every hair on my arm stood up. And I told my wife, I was like, the only other time I've ever felt that is in Kyle Field, whenever we're having a good football game, or when they come walking out of the tunnel. So it definitely gave, the electricity in the air. I've never felt that playing golf before. And then, with the deal with the 18th hole, making birdie, knocking Andrew out of the Open, it was weird. I was sitting there on the 18th. Tiger had been talking all day, and I was just like, what's up next for you in British? And then I realized that there were spots up for grab, and I looked at the leaderboard and realized that, a birdie would probably do it. And I hit it about 4 feet, and then knocked in the putt. So it was pretty cool.
And that got you into the British at Carnoustie.
Yeah, which is a pretty special place.
How hard is that golf course?
We had pretty mild conditions. Well, I take that back. My back nine on Thursday, a storm blew in, and I teed off at 4:30 in the afternoon. I didn't even know there was tee times ever, because they send everybody off one. I had no idea. And by my back nine, the wind was blowing about 30, and the greens were bumpy and firm. And I played some of the best golf of my life to shoot one over par on the back nine. But yeah, it was pretty cool. My wife and I, our room actually overlooked. There's a hotel there. If anyone watching's been there, they know that overlooks the 18th green and the number 1 tee box. So I missed the cut, unfortunately. But when Tiger was in contention, he was winning on Sunday that year. It was pretty cool. We were out on our patio, like 30 feet from the first tee. And so we got to watch the whole deal, watch Tiger tee off and all the guys. So it was pretty memorable.
That's pretty awesome. Well, let's see. You get under the gun at the national title on the 18th. You birdie. You play with Tiger Woods in the last round. And I remember I watched that. I was looking at going out to watch that round, but it was my dad's 75th surprise birthday party.
Oh, man.
And I told Brandon, there's just no way I can make that. But we're watching. You open with a birdie against Tiger Woods. I mean,
two birdies. I birdied my first two. Yeah.
Everybody was going crazy right about then, by the way. Every Aggie that I was watching for sure. Man, it seems like you get under the spotlight and you perform. So we're rooting for you to get there on Sunday again and see what happens.
Yeah. So one thing I know about myself is I'm not afraid of any stage. Never have been. I never will be. I just got to get better so I can get to the stage. So that's what this coronavirus break's been all about for me. Is really, I've busted my hump to try to get better. There's a lot of facets in my game that need to improve, and I've been spending my time making sure that I can get to the stage.
Well, we're looking forward to watching more to come. See, I've got a couple other questions. What's your favorite course you play on tour?
Oh man, there's a lot of good ones. Obviously, if I had one round left, it'd be Pebble. But my favorite, if I could go play a golf tournament there every week, it would probably be Bethpage Black in New York. It's just incredible.
Public golf course. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just good. It kind of weeds out about half the field before they even tee off. So good ball strikers usually, are going to play well there, and it's really good.
What about courses that aren't on tour? There's, every city's got a Houston, Lochinvar, Blue Jack. There seems to be those all around the country. You got anyone in particular?
There's so many. I've been pretty fortunate to play so many good golf courses. I mean, in Texas, I would say, the course I play every day, TPC, the Woodlands, or I guess it's now tournament course of the Woodlands, is probably one of my favorites. Blue Jack is awesome. Whispering Pines is awesome. Northwood in Dallas is great. And one good golf course in Tulsa, if you ever get a chance or anyone does, Southern Hills is fantastic as well. So.
Yeah, they've had a couple of majors out there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got another question from Reagan Freiling, class of '93. He said he's a solid 16 handicap and he's a pretty good putter. And he was wondering at what point, what does he need to get his handicap down to go pro, go get on the PGA Tour?
Well, Reagan, don't quit your job quite yet. I don't really know how to answer that. I feel like once you get if you're at a 16 now, you get to an 8. Once you get lower and lower and lower, it's harder to keep knocking those down. So once you get to an 8, it's harder to get to a 6. When it's 6, it's really hard to get to a 4, and so on. So when you get to about a +6 at your home club, you give me a call and we'll go play and figure out if you're ready.
Keep your day job, Reagan. Let's see. Reagan did have another good question. He wanted to know how old were you when you started playing golf?
So I have pictures of myself with a golf club in my hands since the day I can walk. I was really a competitive baseball player growing up. So,
Your dad was a pretty good ball player, wasn't he?
He was. He played for the Pirates organization and was a pitcher. And I was a pitcher, and I loved baseball. I just fell in love with golf and just the individual aspect because I'd get so frustrated. You have a one-run game, you end up losing, and golf is either you play well or you don't, and it's all on you. And I picked it up pretty quick. When 12 years old, I remember I got thrown in the lake by all of the guys on the high school team because my brother was on the high school team. So I'd go out and play with all of them. And I shot a 65 on them. And,
oh, wow.
And when I was 12, and they picked me up and they threw me in the lake on the 18th hole. So after that, I kind of was just hooked and I quit baseball. And by about 8th grade, I was just all golf all the time.
Man, that's good. That's great. Let's see. I think I've got Katia Buza, class of 2018, wants to know what you do in your free time when you're not playing golf.
Yeah, pretty much normal. Like just going a lot of walks. We have 2 Australian Shepherds, and they have to have their exercise. So we go to the park near our house, and I built out my backyard pretty good. So we spend a lot of time in our backyard and just hanging out with the family. And we don't do a lot. Life on the road gets pretty tiresome. So when we're home, we kind of just hunker down and just recharge our batteries.
My understanding, you've got a pretty unique backyard. Why don't you tell us about what you put back there?
Yeah, so we bought our house, and backyard was kind of a mess. And my wife's like, I'm going to redo this, and this, and the inside. And I'm like, all right, you can do that. Let me have the backyard. So I ended up striking the deal with a fellow Aggie, actually, in Sinlawn. It's an artificial turf company, and they ended up sponsoring me for a year, and they came out and just made my backyard into my little paradise. I got a big old putting green. I can hit 40-yard wedge shots in there. And yeah, we got lights. I put lights all around, so at night I can be out grilling and just do a little pitching and chipping and putting. And it's been really fun with my son now, going back there and he actually feeds me balls. So I'll be chipping and he has the 30 or 40 Titleist balls, and after I hit one, he throws the next one to me, and then he throws another one at me. So
that's great.
We love it. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Man, that sounds like you got pretty good back there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They did a good job. They really did. If anyone's thinking about putting a putting green or artificial turf, choose Sinlawn for sure.
How do you spell that?
SYN and then lawn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Aggie owned and operated.
Hey, that's awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, you got any questions for Bronson? I know you just played golf yesterday. How'd that go?
Well, I was motivated to play golf for the first time in 2 months yesterday, and I did okay. I shot under bogey golf. I think it was an 85. But look, I've always wondered, it must be really nice to play on pristine surfaces where you got, the course that I play with, and I'm not going to call it out. I mean, sometimes it's like an obstacle course on the putting green. And when you get off into the rough, I mean, it depends on what day it is associated with it. But I have a great time out there. But what is this, is there a significant advantage to playing on such manicured courses, both the chipping on the fairway, even in the rough and the green?
So the best way to answer that question is, and I've been asked this a few different times, it is better. The greens are better to putt on, obviously, than even the course I play every day. You get on PGA Tour, they prepare for a month or two, and it's perfect. But if you're not putting well, the greens are running usually about anywhere from 11.5 to 13 on the stent meter. So you can start doing a little ping pong back and forth if you're not making them. And the rock hard typically. And yes, it's easier because everything's perfect, but if you're not hitting it where you want to, it can be a lot more challenging. So I guess that'd be the best way to answer that. But I would much rather play in a perfect golf course every time. And at least when you hit a good putt on those greens, and it's in right when you hit it, opposed to, the hit and bounce, plinko, and hopefully it goes in. So.
Well, that's my excuse, so to speak. But, it does marvel me when I look at these shots on the PGA Tour, and the ball goes into the rough, and it's actually, it's underneath the rough. You can see it if you got the camera looking straight down on it, but if you were walking through, you couldn't see it. Yet somehow they're able to come in there, scoop it out, pitch it, and, doggone near every time they get it either on the green or close to the green. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, no, it's obviously not the easiest thing in the world, and muscle helps with that, and a wedge. So
you mean you don't just close your eyes and swing hard?
Sometimes.
Hey, I wanted to ask you. I forgot when you got into talking about golf. It's an individual sport. I mean, it's all on you. But you do have a caddy, and can you talk to us about how you found your caddy, and give us a little background on the other half of your team?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty cool story with my caddy. We were pretty good friends, and sorry if you can hear my son.
That's all right.
He's a really, really good golfer. He played at Fresno State, played over in Asia for a little bit, and decided to give it up. And I went in for a bagel at our local breakfast spot, and he was back there cooking food, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I stopped playing, and I was coming off a wrist surgery, and I'm like, "Well, you want to come caddy?" And that's how it all started. And we have a great relationship, and it's funny. We were always super competitive, and so now having two guys out there that are good, know the game really well. It's a lot of fun.
That's pretty awesome. Well, Appreciate you jumping on this call, and thanks for doing this, for agreeing to do this interview, and we really appreciate it. Let's see, next week we've got Dr. Ben Newman, the coronavirus expert. So looking forward to that. But Bronson, man, good luck this year. Good. Best wishes for the upcoming baby you've got. You said September.
September.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, man, we really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, guys. And yeah, no, anything help out fellow ags. I love it.
All right. Well, finish the year strong, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
All right.
Y'all too.
Bye.
Bye.